contracts written with ChatGPT legally binding? Let's talk to a lawyer to find out.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, there's a lot of questioning going on when it comes to contracts in the publishing space. And recently we've had a discussion pop up about people or smaller publishers using something like ChatGPT to write their book contracts. So is a contract written by ChatGPT or some other AI source going to be legally binding?
So, I mean, in theory, could it? Yes. The question really to ask, though, is do you really want to go down the ChatGPT route to draft the contract? And I think what I mean by that is, are you willing to basically forfeit, legal accuracies or at least some semblance of a good working draft for the sake of convenience? The problem with ChatGPT, and I've trialed it before. I've tested out the contract formation method just to see what it would do. And considering I'm in the licensing space, I constantly license photos and videos. I'm very much aware of the typical contractual language that would be there, like, a representation of warranty clause, assignment of copyright ownership potentially, any sort of limitation on liability, indemnity clauses, governing law. These are like they're often overlooked, but these are the very crucial yet important boilerplate provisions that really round out and define a contract. I trialed it with no frills whatsoever, just asked it to generate a contract, and it really was very flawed. Now, impressive that it drafted a contract, but still very flawed. Missed out on a lot of the instructions that I had prompted. Also missed out on key clauses that are imperative in licensing agreements. And it just felt very unfinished. Like it almost felt like a fifth grader probably could have done a better job drafting the contract than ChatGPT. The other concern that I have with using ChatGPT is that, remember, it's an AI learned language model. So it's essentially using data that is provided by OpenAI's engineers, that it probably aggregates information from the internet or from other resources to essentially instruct the server, instruct the AI platform on how to perform a specific function. So I would venture to believe that there's a very good chance that OpenAI engineers or software developers have provided this LLM some type of, I don't know, maybe like contracts from LegalZoom or from other general websites or legal resources that then the OpenAI platform, ChatGPT platform, thinks it's generating something that works. The problem is it's incomplete and it's piecemealing all these different, terms from different contracts. And as is the case with any prompt from any AI platform, not specific to ChatGPT, no result is going to render the exact same result. So, or no prompt is going to render the same exact result. So I would say this is basically what I would suggest any publishers out there, most specifically the small and indie publishers, because we know the big five are not going to do this. But if you're mid-size, small, maybe an independent publisher, please think of, let me put it to you this way. Would you cheap your way out of, let's say, your business by, let's say playing the lotto and hoping to God that you get seed money to start your business? Would you go to a casino and gamble? I mean, bottom line is using OpenAI or ChatGPT is the equivalent of that. You are gambling on some type of legal protection that could easily be, or legal issue that could easily be avoided with proper protocols. So go to a lawyer, go to a publishing lawyer. That would be the first step I would take in terms of just getting some type of understanding of what a typical publishing contract looks like. Maybe having them helped organically draft a contract for you, or better yet, there are tons of lawyers on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on the internet, generally speaking, that have contract template stores. And I am sure that some of them may even have contracts catered to authors, to publishers, to the publishing community. I would take that any day over ever going to OpenAI or ChatGPT and having that generate a contract for me. Those contract templates are going to have exactly everything you need: your license, your parties, the signatories to the contract, your typical provisions, and anything else that you as a publisher would want protected or tailored to cater to your needs as a publisher. Doing it that way is definitely going to be the most, not only the most cost effective, because it's also going to save you on litigation after the fact, but it's also going to be the most valuable way to legally protect yourself going forward. So please heed to that advice. Yes, OpenAI and ChatGPT and all AI platforms are great. They're fantastic. They're innovative, but they are not the foolproof way of legally protecting yourself.
Now, from an author perspective, if we feel like perhaps the publishing company that we are thinking about working with is offering us something that has been constructed by AI or ChatGPT, what are the steps that we should take to make sure that we are protected?
So that will definitely require going to your own individual lawyer. And obviously, if you're an author that happens to have a legal background and you're in a legal capacity to redline the contract, please by all means do that. But if you lack that legal, knowledge, going to a publishing lawyer and having them redline the contract will be an imperative part of this process. And trust me, they will peel every single layer to make sure that there are no inaccuracies contained within that contract. And they could even call out the publisher and say, hey, you're using something that clearly looks like it was AI generated. And so now at that point, the lawyer is not only amending the contract to tailor your needs, but they also are, and I've said it before in previous episodes with you, lawyers act as advocates for their client. They are there to advocate for your success, to see to it that your rights are met. So in addition to cleaning up the contract, they're also going to make sure that you're getting the best protection going forward. So maybe there are clauses that are absent that would otherwise protect you as an author. Like, let's say the contract, I mean, this would be wholly reckless, but let's imagine that this contract didn't contain a provision that an upfront fee is not being offered. I mean, what, you're going to provide free labor for months and provide edits and you're not getting paid upfront for that? I mean, we definitely see terms in publishing contracts where you're providing an upfront fee, and if you don't meet, let's say, a deadline, or if you abuse it too much, the publisher could take back the upfront fee that's provided to you. That we've seen in publishing agreements time and time again. But to have that clause even just non-existent is ridiculous. So the lawyer wants to make sure, your lawyer would want to make sure that that is something that is afforded to you, that you are indemnified for certain claims that are not related to you whatsoever. Maybe an indemnification clause that you get that's provided from this AI generated contract makes you the person that indemnifies the publisher for everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. That's why a publishing lawyer is essential to that process. They will have the eye to redline the contract, and they will see to it that your rights are protected as an author.
And I'll say this, I have been in this space for a very long time. I've seen a lot of contracts, mine and other people's. I'm very good at studying the law and knowing what I'm talking about, but I'm still not a lawyer, and I will still not sign my own book contracts without having a lawyer look them over, despite having a heavy education without a degree on this space. So it's very, very important for you to get yourself a lawyer. And before you say, but I can't afford a lawyer, a lot of people in the publishing space are aware of this. They know how this works, and they'll work on a sliding scale with you. So based on the advance you're getting or how much you're predicted to make from this novel, they'll work for a little bit less or a little bit more or a percentage of that advance so that you are not out a ton of money to get the help that you need. Please do not sign a book contract in this industry without having a lawyer look it over. You are shooting yourself in the foot if you do. You are not going to have a good resolution to anything that comes up if you have not had a lawyer look over that before you sign it. I have seen it happen far too many times, and I will continue to tell you, don't sign it without legal representation looking over it. Find someone who will work with you.
You're you're sounding a lot like a lawyer here. I think I need to call New York Law School to get you an honorary law degree here.
Oh, I like it. I like that. We should do that. And if you have further questions on this, we do have good episodes here on our playlist on book contracts. Tony and I have gone over red flags, green flags, different clauses, things that you should know. We break down some of the legal clauses on some of the platforms and with some of the things that you could potentially be working with. So tons of really valuable resources in our playlist, which will be linked down below. But we also have Tony back every single week for new episodes, making sure we're protecting you in the legal space in the publishing arena. So we want to make sure we're answering your questions. So if you don't see your question in the playlist, please ask it. We're here to get those answered for you. If you don't want to ask it publicly, DM me or email me privately. I will keep your name out of this, but we want to get your questions answered to make sure we're helping you along on your publishing journey. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. So Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene, with new episodes dropping every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop your questions down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes, and we have a full playlist on the legal, ethical, and creative side of AI use in the world of publishing, so make sure you check that out. We have a ton of great episodes all about the legal, ethical, and creative side of AI in publishing, and we're dropping daily videos helping you navigate the world of publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, to make this your most profitable year ever with the least amount of time commitment, stress, and overwhelm when it comes to your content creation. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.